cross sections across your working space, and from there you measure the average height and the length from the sections view, and you calculate various trapezium areas, and then you add them together. Okay, so that is a little bit lengthy. Okay, another way, which is a shortcut way, but I can say it's not 100% accurate. Maybe I can say 98% or 95% accurate, is because we understand that the working space have a regular width, which is 600 mm. So we have the volume. If you have the volume and you have a regular width, you take the volume of all the working space and you divide by the regular width, which is the width, and you will have the average vertical area of all the working space. Yeah, so that's a shortcut way. You take the volume, divide by the width, you got a vertical area. But the more so-called more accurate and very lengthy ways is you can take the cross sections, one by one, and then you measure the average depth and the average height, the average depth, and then the length of each of the side. So let's say you got the U shape, so you measure 3 sides of each U shaped, and then you add the 3 areas together. Okay, yeah, so that's how you calculate the maintenance surface of the excavations, the long way and the short way. Yeah, but of course the short way is not 100% accurate, because the short way, basically we are looking for the mean, the average vertical area, but I think it's good enough. You can just use that. Any more questions? Okay, for 13, I asked, do we need to fill in the quantity in red? Yes, you need to fill in the quantities in red as well, correct. And make sure, guys, you need to round your quantities to the nearest number, okay, to the whole number. Do not keep any decimal place. Yet you fill in the quantities in red. And do not touch the details excavations, because detail excavation is correct. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we don't do it, because this assignment is only for bulk excavations. I think you have no problem getting a software to combine all the files in PDF. And if you have Qubit, you also can use Qubit to do your calculation sheet. You also can use Qubit as well. Okay, I think we may use Qubit today if we have a little bit more time. Yes, if most of you have the software, we can use Qubit today. Basically, I illustrate to you how to use Qubit today. So I'll give you some time to try, but it's very, very short. Okay, yeah. Sure, today we will have Qubit. We will go through Qubit, how to open Qubit, how to enter the BOQ in Qubit. But assignment 3, just for your informations, Trevor hasn't uploaded the BOQ for assignment 3 yet. You only have the drawings. He hasn't uploaded the BOQ, so basically you don't know what you need to take off. But I will give you a sample for you to try, just to enter the BOQ in Qubit, so you have some sort of hang of it. Okay? Sure, today we will talk about Qubit, definitely. We will talk about Qubit. But we don't have to do, we will not do a full sessions about how do you do the takeoff, but we only insert the bill of quantities, do some indent, outdent, play with the software, and come out with a BOQ report. And maybe we do some takeoff, simple one. Okay, it's fun. Actually, Qubit is very fun, I find. Do you all have Qubit yet? I'm very sure that someone don't have Qubit, but never mind. We will still use it today, okay? Okay, 18 Zarko you cannot download. I give you a tips because I couldn't download too. Okay, so did you get the email from Biosoft? If you have the email from Biosoft, you forward your email to your personal email. Okay, I type here, forward Biosoft email to another personal email. Then you can download. Because what they do is UON actually prevent us from clicking on the link, especially link with exe. So I had the same problems, but I solved the problem on the same way. And students teach me as well. Yeah, students are very smart. Yeah, I said, teacher, you just forward to your personal email and that's okay. Yeah, straight away, very fast. Very neat and nice. Okay. Very happy to see you guys again. Yeah, so I hope you are enjoying your study, although it's a little bit difficult. Forward to your another personal email, so you can download from there. Yeah, because you cannot use your school email to download. Your school email will block. Alright. Alright, let me share with you our lesson today. So I hope that we can have some spare time. First, we will go to a Q&A for the assignment 2. And second, okay, first we will go to some exercise for Qubit. You know, I know you are so excited to try on Qubit, and me too, you know, it's really fun. And second, we will have some time for Q&A for assignment 2. I believe this week should be one of the last week that we talk about assignment 2, right? But I believe that some of you maybe haven't even started on assignment 2. Okay, so give me a second. I need to open my PowerPoint slides. Okay, guys, start. Okay, I'm gonna go through the first part, and later on I will let travel audio to take over from me, from there. Okay, so today we will talk about masonry, especially for the ASMM 6. Okay, guys, I'm gonna turn off my webcam so we can have more bandwidth for the voice and the video. Okay. Okay, so last week we talked, no, not last week, basically. Last week we talked about Qubit, Biosoft Qubit only. But the week before, in week 7, we discussed about masonry. So now the first part of these lectures, we want to go back again on masonry. Okay, so when we talk about metric standard bricks, it means they have a standard size, be it common brick or be it a facing brick. By this time, you should know, okay, this is a common knowledge, that there are 2 kinds of brick. One is called facing brick. Another one is called common brick. Okay, facing bricks are bricks with at least one face that is very beautiful, very even, very smooth. And facing bricks are meant to be exposed. like this, okay? Nobody will use facing brick and then plaster over the wall. That is disaster, okay? That is absurd. Okay, so there are two kinds of bricks. One is called facing bricks, another one is called common bricks. So common bricks are clear bricks, and common bricks are meant to be covered and plastered over. So facing bricks are usually used for external walls where you want the brick to be exposed. In some cases, they also use facing brick to facing internally. So depends on the design. Okay, we call matrix standard brick because they have a standard size. Okay, 110 is this size. This is 230 and this is 76. Try to memorize this, okay? So it's good for you to understand. Number per meter square. So if one brick wall, about 48 numbers per meter square of walls. Okay, so you can say 49 numbers. It's either with hole, extruded, or dry pressed. Okay, so when bricks are laid, there is a 10 mm thick bed and 10 mm thick per pan. So basically the vertical mortar joint, the vertical, this part, mortar joint, we call them a per pan. And the bottom, the horizontal mortar joint, we call them a bed. Alright. So 230, you add a mortar joint, become 240. 76, here you add mortar joint one side, become 86. Alright, so share, two bricks share one mortar joint, so 5, 5 both sides. 5, 5 both sides. So basically, the size of the brick, this is a stretcher bond, including the mortar joints, is 240 times 86. Why is it important? Because if you have, let's say if you have a brick walls of 3 meters, how many courses are there? Okay, so let me give you a quick example. Okay, I'll show you my calculator. Okay, if let's say I got brick wall of 3 meter, I know that one course is 86. Okay, so divide by 86. So you got 34.88 courses. Remember, we don't want to have a point something courses. It means if you have less than one course, it means you need to cut the brick. Alright, so what we're going to do is we will try to squeeze the mortar. Okay, so we either increase the mortar joint a little bit to add in to have less brick. In this case, I think we will round it up. Okay, so maybe we have 35 courses. Okay, so we got 35 courses. So 35 courses you times 76. Sorry, 35 courses you times 86. Okay, a little bit more 10. Okay, so you got spare 10. So some of the course have to go with 9 mm bits instead of 10 mm bits. You know, so you squeeze the mortar a little bit so you can squeeze in 35 courses. Okay, times 86. Okay, 3010. Okay, so this is how you got it. So remember, we have this is a matrix standard brick. Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay, so you have the term here. Why do I emphasize on the terms? Because as a quantity surveyor or a contract managers or even a construction managers, it's very important for you when you read the BOQ, you have to understand. You have to understand the specifications. You understand what are they trying to say. You know, if they say 230 mm thick solid walls in stretcher bond, so you know that it's 230 mm thick brick wall, so it's 2 brick wall, and it's in stretcher bond and laid in cement, sand, and lime 141, for example. So I mean, the mortar, cement, sand, and lime 141. Guys, If you are able to understand the descriptions in a BOQ, at least to 90% of it, you are very confident. You know what works you are referring to, because at the end of the day, you are going to price it. You know, because if they say, oh, mortar, cement, sand, and silicone, for example, that's very expensive because silicone sealant is expensive. So you must really have to know and understand the specs. A lot of times students are not confident because, especially Asian students like us, okay? We're all Asian, English is not our first language, by the way. So we feel very, intimidating about having a long descriptions and reading the specification, because we don't really understand. But if you really understand, you feel very confident. Then you know what are they talking about, and you also know how to check the work done from the contractors. Okay. Now let me go through with you some of the terms in masonry. Okay, so we have bed. Remember, bed is horizontal mortar joints. Just now I discussed with you. Perpen is vertical mortar joint. Face shell, smear of mortar joint, smear of mortar on the face side of the perpen. The remainder is a void. If the perp must be solid, if the perp is a perp must be solid in a fire-rated wall. Smear of mortar on the face shell is smear of mortar on the face sides of the perpen. The remainder is a void. If the perp must be solid in a fire-rated walls. Actually, I don't know what is face shell to understand this. Smear of mortar on the face side of the perp, face side of the perpen. The perpen is a vertical mortar joint. The remainder is a void. Okay. Skin, a solid brick walls. Let me look for face shell. I don't know what's face shell. Okay. Face shell is actually the I think it's the structure face of the brick. Skin, a solid brick walls. Structure, a brick let in with the 230 dimensions in the face of the wall along the bed. Headers, a brick let with the 110 N dimensions in the face of the wall along the bed. Brick on edge, a brick let with the 76 N dimensions in the face of the wall along the bed. Okay, here I'm gonna explain to you, okay? Bed, perpen, face shell, skin, structure, header, brick on edge. Later I will have some illustration to you. So next one, we got soldier. Brick let with 230 dimensions in the face of the walls as a perpen. Snap, a brick that has been cut to reduce the length. Split, a brick that has been cut to reduce the height. Lift, the height of the wall can be built up to before the bricklayer has to lift to the scaffold. Say, hollow walls, a brick wall which includes a cavity. Okay, cavities are usually about 50 wide. Okay, so you have hollow walls, you have solid skin, okay, a solid brick wall, skin of a hollow wall, hollow walls, cavity walls, a leaf, split, snap, soldier, you got a bed, perpen, skin, stretcher, header, brick on edge. Okay, I'm gonna explain to you all these terms. Okay, I'm gonna give you a showing my whiteboard. Okay. Okay, let's use black colors. Alright, guys. Okay, first, this is called bait and perpen, you know, okay? Okay, this is, okay, this is actually stretcher bond, okay? This is stretcher bond. Okay, like this, So this part, this one is called bait, okay? You know, this is bait. This is bait, okay? And this is perpen. This is perpen. Okay, this is perpen, So this is okay, and this is bait. Okay, you know it, Okay, and if the brick like this, okay, this is a brick. If the brick laid in this way, the brick laid in this way, the brick laid in this way, okay, there's a brick laid in this way, and there's a brick laid in this way. Okay, so if the brick laid in this way, we call it stretcher, and it is this way, this is called headers, and this way we call them brick on edge. Okay, so you see the brick that is laid on this way and it's one row, then you describe it all brick on edge. Is it a brick on edge capping? Is it a header capping? Is it a stretcher? Okay, so this headers brick on edge. So you know that this side is 230, right? This one is, this side is 110, and this side is 76. Okay, this is how it works. So of course this is 76. Okay, yeah. Okay, and this is 1. Oh, yeah, this is how it works. Okay, just now it's a fish shell. Okay, this is perpen. Let me show you. If let's say you have this this brick wall. Okay, this is a brick wall here. If I got 2 brick wall here, okay, then I got another brick wall here. Okay, then I got another brick wall here. This is a cross section. This is a cross section of the wall. Okay, yeah. Of course, it will look some sort like this. Okay, it looks some sort like this. It looks some sort like this. Like this. Okay, like this. Okay, and likewise here here we'll have 2 brick So another brick here Okay, a brick. So face shell, they say, is a smear of mortar on the other side of the face. Okay, the other side of the perpen. So this is also face shell. Okay, this is a face shell here. Okay, let me see. They say face shell is smear mortar on the face side of the perpen. The remainder is a void if the perpen must be solid in a fire-rated wall. Okay, so this is a wall, this is a perpen. Okay, and this is also the perpen. So the face shell is actually on the other side of the perpen here. Okay. Okay. Now, okay, you put stretcher this way, right? How about we put a brick? Talk about brick. Okay, how about we put a brick this way? Okay, if we put the brick this way, this is 76. This way. Okay, this is 76. 76. This is 230. If we put this way, we will call them a soldier. Okay. Sometimes we want a soldier, really a standing up soldier like this. Okay. But we want a shorter soldier. If we want a shorter soldier, we want a shorter soldier, we will, let's say I got a shorter one here, okay? This soldier is same, this is also 76, and this is maybe 180, for example. 180 is not standard sign though. So basically this is cut soldier. So we don't go cut, we go snap, show, snap, soldier. Okay, like this. Okay, go snap soldier. So a stretcher is 76, right? But what if I want a thinner one? A very thin stretcher. Okay, a very thin stretcher, like for example, I have a very thin one here. Okay, this is not 76, maybe this is only 35. Okay, so the thin one, we call them a split. Okay, a split is a stretcher that has been cut, a cut stretcher. A snap soldier is a cut soldier. So basically we have cut, we have a cut here. Okay, we cut this part here. And split is actually we can cut this part here to become a split. Okay, we cut this part here to become a snap soldier. Okay, so understand? So people say, oh, brick on edge. You know, this is these types. Okay, they say brick on edge is this one. And they say, oh, it's snap soldier. Actually, this standing up thing, and then you be shorter. They say, oh, it's a split, so it's a split. Understand? This is the thickness of the wall. If this is 230 mm thick, okay, a typical single will be 110 mm thick. Okay, so I believe you know what is okay. If I have a wall like this, if I have a wall like this, okay, a wall like this here as well. But this part here is just one single wall. Okay, and this is another single wall here. Okay, for example here. Okay. Usually 2 slash is brick wall, one slash is block wall. So for example, this part of the wall here is called a cavity walls or hollow walls. Okay, and this is another one here, for example, brick walls again. Okay, let me give you one more wall here. Okay, example about one big one here. Oops. Okay. Sorry guys, my slash is quite bad. Okay, so there's a few walls here. Let me show you. Okay, the first wall here, if you have to measure these brick walls, right? There's a few types. Okay, the first type is this one. Okay, this one you call them 110 solid, 110 solid wall. Okay, solid brick wall. This one is 230 solid wall. It's all brick wall. Okay, so I also say this is 110 solid wall. About this one? About this one? This is no, this is a bit different. This one you call them is 110 skin of hollow wall. And another one is this also saying this is 110 skin of hollow wall. And when you measure, right, in this case you have how many items? 110 solid wall is one item. Okay, so these two wall is one item. Sorry, guys. Has a delivery just come. Are you still there? Okay. So if you have this kind of brick wall, right, you will have, this is plan view. This is on the plan view. Yeah, this is plan view. Plan. Okay, I don't have door and windows. Okay, just a room. Okay, so called. So if it's a plan view that you have, this is 230 solid wall, 110 solid wall, 110 solid wall, and hollow wall here. Okay, so you will have how many items? You will have skin of hollow walls is one items. Okay, so two different skin measured separately. Okay, so this is one skin, this is another skin. Okay, so if you have let's say this area is 10 meters square. Okay, so your skin of hollow wall is 20 meters square. Okay, if you have external and internal, then this one will be under external. Okay, for example, so solid wall, this is another item, this is another item. Any questions? Okay, 230 solid wall is this one. Okay, this one is 230 solid wall. This is the one. Okay, it look like this. Of course, you gotta draw it a bit longer lah. Draw a bit longer lah, a bit longer like this, and all the way down lah. Okay, any question for this? I just save this image just in case I need to use it back. Okay. Week 9. Okay. Okay, guys, so let's move on. Do you have any more questions for me? Okay, so you have learned skin, you have learned stretcher, header, brick on edge, you have learned soldier, snap soldier, split. Okay, hollow walls. Okay, leaf. I want to show you what is leaf later on. Okay, so now I go back to here. Okay, guys, so brick walls here, I got 110 thick. This is one brick walls. This is a cross-section view. This is 230 thick. Okay, two brick walls. And this is 350 thick, 3 brick. 450 thick, 4 brick. Here you goes. 7 courses, about 600. Remember one course, 86? So we always want to say, we always want to have a full number, a round up number of courses for brick walls. Okay, so we always try to determine, and we try to adjust the mortar a little bit to squeeze in a full brick instead of having a split. Okay, remember split is a cut brick, because if at the end you got no space, then you can't fit into one whole brick, then you got to cut the brick. That's will increase your cost. Okay, so we have talked about brick walls, we have talked about the thickness of the walls, and I understand that thickness of the wall is very important because we have to measure separately on different thickness. Okay, before we measure separately on different thickness, we also have to give a general descriptions. So your general description must tell what kind of bond. Remember, we got stretcher bond, header bond, English bond, James bond. There's no James bond, okay? English Gardens bond, his and miss bond. Last week, bond is actually the patterns of the brick that is laid together. Some bond is more difficult to do because it's required more cutting. Some bond is more straightforward, and the most common is stretcher bond. Remember just now I draw that shapes of the walls, that is stretcher bond. Okay, bricks rod. The most common is being 7 courses, 600 or 86 mm per course. So what is brick rods? Brick rods is actually a stick, okay? A stick that is to use as a guide, okay, for the brick. So we will raise it up after every 7 courses. So brick rods is calculated to determine the complete courses for walls, for examples. Remember I told you that we need to have a full courses instead of a half courses or something like that. Okay, so if you have 2.4 meter wall height, so we will have 28 courses at 86 mm. What does it mean? It means we'll have 10 mm of mortar joint. If we have 3.4 meters, we will have 40 courses of 85 mm. It means we will have a little bit thinner mortar joints. Okay, if you have 40 courses at 86, it will be 3440. Therefore, we need a split. So we will cut down the mortar to fit in the brick. Okay, so this is brick rod. Okay, the rod is just a stick, and then they got a guide. You see, they got a stick and then a guide. And then every how many courses, they will just adjust. We will just pull it up, or we will just do a measurement here. We just do a guide. So we will see that, oh, how many courses are there, and every 6 course we will put a guide. Okay, basically it's just a stick guide. Okay, this is an example of a hollow walls. I can zoom in a little bit for you to see. You see that? This is an example of a hollow walls. Corners are run up for one skin using a rod, which set out 7 course. Okay, so here you are. Okay, so this is a stick. Okay, and this is a rod here. Okay, yeah. We will set up. Then there is a string line here. So they will every 6-7 courses they put a string line. So to ensure that before you reach the string line, this is about 6 courses. Okay, sorry, 7 courses. Okay, so this is external skin. Okay, and this is the internal skin. Basically, external skin and internal skin you gotta measure separately. Okay, and this is the insulations, right? And in between there's the wall ties. You see that there's some wall ties here. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about lift. Okay, this is lift. The higher the walls, the more lift you have, and the more lift you have, the more cost you have, because you need to increase your scaffolding height. Basically, lift is the height of the scaffolding, and how many times you need to ship the brick up to the next level. Okay, you don't have to mention this in your calculation, in your descriptions, but you need to know that one lift is about 1.5 meter height. So if your walls have 3 meter, so you got 2 lifts, but your wall is 4 meters, then you probably have 3 lifts. So you have either 3 lifts wall, you need to have 3 times of shipping the brick, so the cost cost a little bit more. All right, so it's just for you to guide for the costing purpose. Okay, now let's talk about flashings and whip holes. Let me explain first before I let Trevor to talk about this. Okay, this is pretty important because nobody will show you where are the flashings on the elevation plan. Okay, on the elevations you only have the sectional details, and from there you have to interpolate where are the locations of the flashings on the elevations of the drawings. So whip holes provide an escape for moisture that make it easy a way into the cavity. Okay, so basically we have flashings. I think this is a very interesting concept. Okay, look at here. This is a brick walls. This is, you read this one. 150 mm snap soldier course. Remember just now I teach you about soldier? the brick that's standing up straight. Okay, so if you look at it, this is a sill of the windows. This is the window. This is a sill of the windows. All right, and tilted 15 mm as shown. So it's not straight. It's a bit tilted, 15 mm out. Okay, to make it a sill of the windows. And 150 mm snap soldier means the full cost, the full brick is 230, but it has been snap. Snap is actually cut, okay, in 250. So you read, you understand that this is a soldier shields, and this had to be measured separately in meter run because it's special. This is common, okay, this is normal. So this is measured together with the walls, and this is to be measured separately in meter run. Okay, next we have flashings and whip holes. We don't have to count how many whip holes are there. Okay, as long as you allow for flashings, in your description you will say whip holes. At 800 cc, it means every 800 mm there's one whip hose. So what is whip hose? Okay, whip hose is actually, do you remember just now I talked about beds and perpen? The vertical mortar. In this, the bricks, next to the brick, there should be a mortar joint. Okay, but because we want the water, we know the water somehow will travel inside. Why? Because there's a windows here. So there's a chances where there will be some leakage that the water will go inside the cavities of these walls, of this wall. And this is how we manage the water. We let the water go inside first. We let the water go inside first, and we slowly let the water out via whip hose. And this is a Z shape, Z, okay? It will lie down here inside the course, go down here, go out here to the whip hose. So if the water go inside, it will slowly drip out to the whip hose. So windows, this is called sill flashings. You see that? Window breaches a cavity. So when the window cut the cavity, we got a sill flashings. Next, we call cavity flashings. Is when the slab cut through the cavity. How about solid walls? You don't need a flashings for solid brick walls. If it's only, flashing is only applicable for hollow walls, okay, for hollow walls. So this is called cavity flashing. Same way, one high, one low, Z shapes. If water happen to come in, it will drip out to here, okay, because we don't want it to go inside the house. This is the head flashings. Head flashing is above the windows. It's working the same ways. You know, somehow if water travel inside here, okay, we want it to go inside. We want to let it out by having a whip hose and get it out this way. Okay, so these are flashings. Every time a cavity is breached, there need to be a flashings. Moisture collected by flashings needs a means of escape by a whip hose. Okay, so let me draw for you what is flashing and what is whip hose. Okay, I will use okay, let me draw for you. Okay, a quick one. Okay, this is the wall. Okay, I make it a little bigger here. So it's a wall here like this. Okay, this is a cavity hollow walls. Of course, this part here will have mortar joints. Okay, and we have flashings. So we have flashings. So the flashing will go this way. The flashing will go here. Oh, if let's say we have a windows. Okay, assume we have a windows here. Okay, a window here. Okay, windows. So because of these windows, we're very worried that the water may travel in, go into the house. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a flashings. Let's use red colors. Okay, so we put a flashing here like this. and we're going down 2 courses down, and we lead it down here, then we bend it out a little bit. Okay, so if let's say the water go inside here, it will go out here, and here at this side of this brick, okay, at this side of this brick, this side of this brick we have a width hole. Okay, so what is width hole? Basically width hole is just, okay, let's say I'm gonna draw this brick out in face. Okay, let's say the brick out here. Okay, so basically if you have, let's say this is a brick, okay, if usually you have mortar joint everywhere, okay, you got mortar joint here, you got mortar joint here, okay, but somehow here, okay, let's say this is all the mortar joint here, okay, the mortar joint here, okay, but here you leave it empty, okay, this is empty, so this is empty, so this is a whip hole. You don't have mortar joint, it doesn't have a bend, and this is a whip hole, okay, this is a whip hole here. So somehow the water, the flashings, so where's the flashings? Teacher, where's the flashing? Good questions. Okay, if I got a lot of flashings, the flashing will go here like this. In between the mortar. Okay, so you can see the flashing here, and the other side will be inside, you can't see already. Okay, and then here is there's no mortar, so it will go, sorry, I'm wrong. How should I erase it? Flashing should be at the bottoms. The flashing not here. This is not the flashing. The flashing is here. Bottom of the whip hole. So this is the flashing is here. Okay. So if the water somehow flow down here, it will drip out from these flashings. Okay. Any questions for flashings? Any questions for flashings? Okay, I'm gonna give you another example for flashings. Okay, so if let's say you have a brick wall. Okay, this is your wall here. This is your slab. Another level here, and this is the ground level. Okay, and this is your outside. Okay, this is your outside level. Okay, this is your outside. Okay, this is your house. Okay, no, we don't have to put a waterproof membrane under the flashings. The flashing itself is a waterproof. The flashing is a metal piece. The flashing is a metal piece. It's a aluminium. Usually it's aluminium. So it's the water cannot go through. Okay. So if let's say this one is my house, okay, or your house. So this is a door. Another door here. Another window here. Remember, flashing only required when you have cavity walls, right? If you have solid wall, you only need something called damp-proof course. Okay, then it just lay in between the brick. But if you have a cavity walls, you will need to have a flashings, right? So now I need to tell you where are the flashings. Okay, first this is a flashings here. Okay, this one is called head flashings. This is above the windows. Okay, this is sill flashings below the windows. Okay, likewise here, flashings and flashing. You can just take the length of the windows. It's okay. Flashing, flashing. Do you know why I need to tell you this? Because in your assignment 3, they only give you the sections to tell you where the flashings, but you don't know, they never tell you on the elevations that. So you need to have a principle that every time something breach through the cavities, you need a flashings, and above the door as well. And here is above the slab here, and also here is above the slab. Here also have above the slab here flashings. Okay, this bottom flashing, this is the ground floor. Okay, this is the ground floor. Ground floor. Okay, this is the ground floor. This flashing, right, is another name. This flashing is also have a name. This one, right, if it's a cavity wall, if it's a cavity wall, we call DPC flashing. Okay, and is all my flashing good? Okay, I think I need one more flashing here. Okay, any questions for flashings? If it's a solid wall, we don't need a flashing DPC. It's just a DPC, damp proof course. Okay, but if it's a cavity wall, then you need to breach the cavity. So that's why we call them a flashing. Understand? Okay. Okay. Okay, now next we move on. I want to show you the cavity flashings. Damp proof flashings, yeah, DPC flashings prevent moisture rising from the ground or other water sources, wet area floor. Okay, so they have the damp proof. If it's just a solid wall, then you only have one piece like this only. This is damp proof course. But if it's a hollow wall, we will have a damp proof flashings to prevent the moisture rise going from the ground go into the house. Okay, and usually is one course down. In this case, the cavity flashings crosses the whole outer skin and form the DPC to stop moisture rising from the ground. Okay, that's fine. Here. Okay, let me give you okay, later we will explain this again one more time. Okay. Okay, now let's talk about. Anyway, this one have been taught from week 7. It's just so-called abbreviations. Okay, so now we talk about masonry, HSNM 6, and I'm gonna let Trevor to speak. Do you have any questions so far on the brick, on the flashings, and so on? Okay. How do I turn on this? Oh, this is wrong, sorry. I want to turn on this audio.
Hi everyone, thanks for being a bit patient. The architects took a while to get out of the room and then we had to set up, so we're organised now. Welcome to week 9, measurement 2, only a couple to go. It's a good thing, isn't it? I've uploaded some little videos and I made a little video of how to start cubit and masonry. It's and I apologise before you watch the video of the thumping of the keyboard. I didn't notice until I played it back, but I must really pound that keyboard hard because in the video, as I'm talking and I'm typing the things in the cubic, you hear bang, 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 bang on the keyboard. So have a look at that. I'll help you get started through them. I don't know whether we're measuring any block work in our masonry and a hammer. That was on a sloping ground and it dropped away. You might have to introduce a damp-proof course into that brickwork. on touch with the ground. Where you're in touch with the ground, you've got to look and see, do I need a damp-proof course, a DPC? And where you breach the cavity, bottom or top, you need a flashing of some sort, of cavity flashing. So just watch out for that. And it's something you really got to think for, and you go around opening by opening and look and just see what you need. So to measure masonry, we're on slide number 14, we've got the old faithful preambles. And I will expect, this is a little bit of a hint, in assignment 2, I'll expect preambles in the start of every one of your trades. And when you look at my U-Butte video that I made on how to start up in Cubit, I've started with some preambles. And I would like to say I on purpose made some spelling mistakes, and I showed you how to correct them. But in truth, there's a spelling mistake that's still got in there that the spell checker never picked up, and neither did I until I published the video, and I looked at it and thought, oops, spelled that wrong. So see if anyone can spot the spelling mistake in the video. It wasn't on purpose, that one. But have a look at that. So the preambles are basically this. Straight out of the method, refer the introduction, general rules and recommendations. That line goes in every trade. Refer the relevant specification section containing particulars of. That goes in every trade, and then the trade goes at the end of it. And then you've got to give items for samples, sample panels and tests. You need to have that at the start of your masonry trade, and whatever the preambles are in the start of every trade. We got then on slide 15 some rules, and rule M1 is deductions for sills and lintels and things like that. So when you've got a sill is typically in a brick wall 2 courses high, often about 150. 2 courses, 172 high, and you've got to deduct those to that area of the sills on the outside wall. Also, too, you're supposed to deduct where you would measure these, like this stringer brick here that's shown on slide 15. You would deduct the area of that typically too, because you measure that back as a linear meter item. So you're supposed.
I want a rainbow, Mommy.
This is Mommy phone or something.
I think Daddy computer.
Hello. Sorry guys, I think it's my computer, my internet restart halfway.
Okay, I don't see them.
You want the clay? Give me a second. I think the screen for them. Okay, sorry. Are you there, guys? Can you hear?
because it's not the full 230 height, it's off at 170, so we call it snapped. Well, why don't they just say cut off brick? But we use the term snapped. I guess bricklaying is a very old trade.
Okay, guys, we are having the first one is a preambles. Remember, every trade when we start in Qubit, especially for assignment 3, we have many trades. So every trade that you start, you need to type in the preambles. And just remember that the BOQ given by Trevor, there isn't any preambles. You have to copy in yourself. Okay, so next, this is measurement rule 1. You have, can you hear me, guys? Are you still there? Okay. Okay, so the measurement rule 1 mean if you see strings or sills or linters, like some sort of special course, this is a common walls, okay? These are the normal walls. But you see all sort of decorations. Thanks guys. Thanks for responding. Okay. If you see also responding all sort of decorations, whether is it a strings or sills or linters or cobbles or whatever, you have to measure this separately in length. And if you have measuring this separately in length, in the main brick wall, you have to deduct them away. Okay, so you take the length times height. Because this has been measured separately in length, so the main brick wall need to be deducted away. This is the second measuring rules. Calculate opening side dimension to include sill linter. Okay, very easy. It means when you deduct the opening for these windows, also deduct the linter or sills as well, because this is the head, this is a head, and this is the sills. Okay, this is a head, this is a sill. So the heads of the window, the sills of the window, because this we're gonna measure separately in meter run, remember? So in this case, we need to minus them away from the brick wall. It's the same thing, and might as well you include them together with the windows while you minus the opening. You can do two ways, okay? Either you minus them separately or you minus together with the windows. Okay, guy, do you realize that this is special one? This is like standing up, and this is the normal lying down, and we call them 170 snap soldier. Remember snap soldier? Is the brick that's standing up, and then we cut it short to 170. The full cost is 230. Same here, okay? 170 snap soldier cost, tilted 15 mm as shown, so it tilted 15 mm. So guys, when you read all these descriptions, you should be able to understand what are they trying to say. Okay, if you understand the descriptions from the designer, first, you know how to build it. Second, you know how to price it. Because you are construction managers, you either build it or you price it. Okay, so you have to understand. Refinish around downpipes, hell, clear wall and matching. Okay, this is just for water downpipes. Okay, now I let Trevor to carry on. Okay.
We've carried some old terminology. In the old days, bricks were cut with a big wide flat chisel and a hammer, and that's probably why they were called snap. Now the brickies will just run it through the brick saw. But a few years ago, before brick saws were common, a brick saw was known as a hammer and a chisel. That was called the brick saw. And so you would snap the bricks off with a hammer and chisel. And so when you, the second rule, rule M2, when you calculate the size of the opening, you include the sills, and sometimes you'll have a precast head across, or a precast lintel. You've got to take that into account as well. Rule number 17, give particular bricks, blocks, etc., sand, lime, and composition and mix, and that makes sense, doesn't it? You've got to say what sort of bricks are they face, are they common. You'll start off your measure. First item you measure in masonry is common brickwork. When you've measured all the common brickwork, then you measure face brickwork. So that's just the order of where we measure it. Brickwork's always measured first and blockwork's measured second. You always keep it in the same tray, but separate the two out with a line through them. I don't know whether we're measuring any blockwork in our masonry. Has anyone had a look? But if you're measuring brickwork and blockwork, you always measure all the brickwork first, leave a line, and then start off with heading blockwork. But you don't need the preambles to occur again for blockwork. You just leave a line and then put the heading blockwork. Often the same contractor will do bricks and blocks, but sometimes there's guys specialise in blockwork. So the trade might be split in two and sent out to two different people, or it might go out to the same. You've got to have that versatility. So you can't mix brick and block in the one section. They're always separated. Rule 4 on slide number 18 for the distance guys and Singapore crew. Classify work according to size, colour, texture. That's different things that we have to do. Whether they're hollow, screen, or what type of wall they are. And you'll see we talk about solid walls and hollow walls are the two most common types. On slide number 19, measure common, fair face on common brickwork and facing brickwork. Common brickwork is cheap bricks laid fairly rough usually. Fair face is where you've got a common brickwork, common bricks, and you've laid them as face, or you've got a face brick wall. Has anyone noticed that bricks have only one good face? The back side is pretty ordinary. But what happens if you've got like a storeroom? It often happens in a school where you've got a face bricks inside the classroom, and then your storeroom adjacent to the classroom, that's the back of the 110 wall. So what they do is they say, well, it's in a storeroom, so it doesn't have to look nice, but we want it laid as face with a nice iron joint or a smooth joint in it and cleaned up with all the mortar dags off it. And that's called fair face. So fair face is either a common brick that's laid as a face brick, in other words, it's laid nicely, or it's the back of a face brick wall. So if you had a classroom, and we do have a classroom, and you've got a storeroom off the side of it. Storeroom is one of the most common occurrences for fair face. And you've got the face brickwork in the classroom. You would measure face brickwork to the classroom. Then on the back of it, that face brick wall in the storeroom, you would measure fair face brickwork. And that person pricing the bill knows, all right, on the back of the wall, I have to clean it up and I have to do the joints properly. If you said leave that as commons, the brickies just go whack, whack, whack. When they finish laying, they strike the beds off and the perp ends off and just leave them, and they're fairly rough. So fair face is a thing to watch out for. Wherever you've got a 110 wall and it's accessible both sides, always look out for fair face if it's a face brick wall. Slide number 20, rule number 6, measure facings 2 courses below ground.
Okay, so guys, just a quick recap over here. First, M3 and M4 is very closely related. Okay, M3, it means you give the particular brick, for example, metric standard common brick. You can describe metric standard common brick laid in cement sand mortar, cement lump sand mortar 114. Okay, so this would be the general descriptions. And let's say all these common brick that laid in cement sand mortar and also the bond in stretcher bond, for example. So this M3 will give you a general descriptions. And within that general descriptions, all the common brick, for example, for the same cement mortar, then you have to split them further in the thickness. Okay, with the thickness. Later we will give you examples. Okay, for number 5, remember I told you there's a different kind of brick. We got common brick, we got face brick. So common brick are very ugly bricks, and usually common bricks are meant to be covered with finishes or plastering. But somehow people want to use common brick because common brick is cheaper than face brick. Common bricks is in Singapore, guys, mostly we use common brick. The face brick is not very commonly used in Singapore. So face brick in Singapore is very expensive. If my common brick, I buy one piece is about 20 cents. Yeah, but the face brick is about $1 or $1.20, about 5 times more expensive than a common brick. So definitely common brick and facing brick have to measure separately. So in one of my projects, guys, we use common brick. If I can show you one of my project we did, we actually use common brick, but we fair face common brick. We didn't use face brick because that is too expensive. So we use a selected common brick. We go to the common brick batch, and then we just hand pick one by one the nicest one, and then we just build it exposed. We fair face it. We build with a nice face. Okay, so remember, common brick or fair face to common brick have to measure separately, because fair face means you wanna expose it, and then you have to do it very carefully. You have to do a lot of cleaning up for the jointing and the pointing at the joints. All right. Let me show you if I have pictures of it here. Let me show you. Okay, this is a project that we have done so far on the architects. I don't think it looked that very fantastic, but it's okay. Let me share with you here. You see that? This is the one. This is the. Oops. I don't know how to zoom in. Okay, so this is not fair face brick. In fact, this when we subcontracted this projects, the architect wanted to change this to the fair face brick, but that was too expensive. They will cost them additional $30,000. So basically, we use common brick, but we build it fair face. So if you have this kind of common brick fair face, then you have to describe it, okay, as a fair face to common brick. Okay. Now let's move on. This is just small letter.
Has anyone seen projects where they've obviously started the face bricks off at ground level, and in the old days they used to go really cheap on it, and they would lay commons. Now it's not worth buying a pack of commons and to lay in the first couple of courses, so everyone runs the face all the way down to the footings usually. But in the old days, face bricks were a lot more expensive, and they used to run the face bricks down just below the ground level or right on the ground level sometimes. And you'll sometimes see a job where the ground shrunk away on the outside, and you'll see common bricks just appearing up out of the ground. That means you always take the face brick work down at least 2 courses below ground level. Slide 21, you'll hear some different talk about mortar finishes, and across the bottom you've got
this measure facing unless otherwise stated indicated in the contract document to 2 full courses below finished ground level. Remember this? Remember this one? This one. Okay, let me explain this. If this is a fair face, remember this is ground level. Okay, this is the ground level. Okay, finished ground level is here. Okay, and this is the footings. What happened is this part, it will be covered with soil. Basically, we backfill it. Okay, so this whole chunk here is facing brick, and facing brick is expensive. So is that in the olden day they measure, they do the facing brick all the way up to here. This is a ground level. So 1 course, 2 course. So this is facing brick. So you go facing, and these last 3 courses, because nobody gonna see it, so they replace the facing brick with a common brick. Okay, so basically you can just measure up to 2 courses down from the ground level, unless the document stated otherwise. Okay, but I think this is quite trivial. I say nowadays because nobody will just buy one pack of common brick just to lay a few courses. So basically, they will just run the facing brick down all the way to the footing. Okay, so now next is M7.
Rake, where they have, or there's a special raking tool you can buy at Bunnings, I've noticed. But when I was a brickies labourer, we just had a piece of wood and we hammered a nail into it, so the nails just stuck out of the wood. The head of the nail stuck out 10 mil, and we'd run that along the face of the brickwork to get the raked out joint. We'd run it up and down along all the beds and up and down the perbs to get that. You get a flush joint where the bricky just strikes the joint off. Iron is probably structurally the best joint because it really waterproofs that joint, but it's a piece of R10 bar, and you run that along the face of the brickwork and you push it in on the mortar joint, and it sort of compacts the face of the mortar joint and just gives it that nice little round. And then the other one, the messiest one of them all, is a struck joint, where the bricky has to come back upwards with an upward stroke of his trowel and run along that joint. Super messy. And you pay a lot more for, the joint doesn't cost you any more, but you pay a lot more for cleaning because the bricklayers make far more mess of the face of the brickwork when they do a struck joint. So you'll hear those terms, they're fairly common. Slide number 22, distance guys, is something that's really nice but becoming very expensive now. Purpose-made bricks. We used to call them, in the industry, if you hear the term squint, a squint is a particular shaped purpose-made brick, but usually in the industry, a squint is a term that's used for any purpose-made brick, but in reality, it's one particular shape. But you'll hear the term squint. A squint is a brick that's not rectangular, it's purpose-made to be a funny angle. So you can see on this is over at the cafeteria, over at the Union building. The university's got heaps of squints around it. I mean, they spare no expense on some of the university brickwork in the old days, I'd say. But you can see there that corner is a splayed corner. If you did that in square bricks, there'd be little bits of brick sticking out everywhere, but they've used a specially made, specially shaped brick to fill in those corners. Makes a nice. Have a look when you go over to the Union building for your bag of chips and your can of Coke, and you'll be able to see and you'll be able to say to people, "Oh, these are lovely squint bricks here, aren't they?" And I go, "Wow, you guys are smart." See how it goes. Slide number 23, you can combine levels. I would urge you very, very much never to combine levels. And I've probably told you the story in measurement 1, but there was a lady called Fiona Thompson, and she measured a job for me at Hallwood Place in Parramatta. It was a 10-storey car park, and she missed a level out because she combined the levels, the similar levels, lost count, and missed one out. She was what's called a char. I was a char when I first started off in the industry too. And that's a person that works for other quantity surveyors. So you go along to quantity surveyor, might get a big job on. So quantity surveying office might have 10 people work there. They get a couple of big jobs in. They say, "Oh, we need a few more people." Rather than employ someone, they get someone comes in on subcontract as a char, called a char, comes in, works for them on that job, and then goes off on to the next job. I spent a few years working as a char in the very early 80s. It's good money, you get paid an hourly rate. Fiona was a char. Fiona Thompson was a char. Good mate of my wife's, they met at uni. So she said, "I can do all the floor slabs on this Hallwood Place job," and we negotiated a price, except she did one less floor slab than I paid for. And luckily for me, I was a bit anal, and I checked everything and discovered there was a floor missing. Big fight with Fiona. I wasn't the only one that she missed out things on, and so in the end she couldn't work in Sydney because every quantity surveyor in Sydney had her on the poison pen list, and we didn't want to know about her. So I call it doing a Fiona, when you miss out a level or you miss something out. And the method says you can combine like levels together, but I would urge you not to do that in case you do a Fiona to yourself. And miscount a level. Missing out a level on a 10-story building is a pretty major thing to do, and I'm so glad I found that, because it would have cost me probably my financial existence. You might hear the term overhand. Extremely naughty thing to try.
So guys, basically the standard allow you to group the levels, group a few story if they have a similar floor plan. But for simplicity of contract admin, we don't do so, even though the standard allow us to group the levels. So the best is you measure one level by one level by one level. Okay. Now we talk about overhand. Overhand means when you have the cavity walls, you're supposed to lay them outside in. It means you're supposed to stand outside and lay the brick, but not stand inside and lay the brick outside, because, you know, what if you drop the brick, you drop the mortars, and even you can fall down, you know, so it's a dangerous act. So you have to measure separately, because that is expensive and dangerous, and in some cases is prohibited.
Do on Australian building sites. Here's a picture of a bloke laying overhand. You lay from the face of the wall, and you can see it's a fairly subtle difference, but it's pretty dangerous. What used to happen, mainly on 3-story walk-up, home unit walk-ups, is rather than put a scaffold up, they used to get the hollow brick wall, the 270 hollow brick wall on the outside of the building, and they'd lay it from standing on the slab, lean out over the wall, lay the outer skin from inside the building. So they had to lean over a fair way. They would occasionally drop bricks, but occasionally they'd drop a brickie. And so it's illegal, I think, in nearly every circumstance. But here's a picture of a bloke. He's laying over, so he's standing on the inside. He's got an inner skin of brickwork would be at his feet that he's going to lay. There's a cavity, and then he's leaning over and laying the outer skin from the inside of the wall. That's called overhand. To lay that outside skin, he should be standing outside the building and facing onto the string line. So that's overhand work. If you hear overhand work, just be careful of it, because I know that it's extremely frowned upon. But 3-story walk-up home units used to be built overhand to save on the scaffold. Pretty dangerous stuff. So just watch out for overhand. It's still in the method. I thought it had been outlawed, but it's still in the method. But can everyone see there how he's sort of working back to front? He's working over the top of himself. Instead of standing in front where the string line should be closest to him, and he's laying bricks behind the string line, he's actually working over top of a course and working towards the string line. It's called overhand. It's a lot messier, yeah. Yeah, well, you drop a lot of stuff down the outside. It's okay there, he's fairly low down, but when he gets up 3 stories, it's a little bit dodgy. Slide 25. I won't read all this out for you, because I know you just want to sit up in bed tonight with your methods and read that to yourself. But what's deemed to be included? Measurement and pricing, deemed to be included. That's slide 25. So the preambles, a sample of the preambles, just to give you an idea. I know I'm harping on about these preambles, but I know you guys have been, nearly 12 months since you've done them. And I know how much you forget in 12 months. So I just want to give you an example of what the preambles can be. That item G is not essential. You don't have to put that in if you don't want. You can put it in. It's optional. You won't lose any marks in the assignment if you don't put it in. Let's say that. Yeah, that's the best way. That's the language you guys understand, isn't it? No marks lost if you don't put it in. If you put it in, I think, geez, that's nice. Or Wayne the American. I think Wayne the American's marking your assignment 3. He's pretty tough. It's a lot tougher than Ali. Ali's a lovely bloke to mark. Well, you should look after Ali. He marks very, very nicely for you guys. See how I butter you up, Ali? Everyone thinks you're a great guy now, see? It wasn't Ali. Chathana. Terrible woman. Terrible. No, you're not marking any of these, eh? Wayne the American loves measurement 1 and measurement 2. And he loves marking them. I don't know why. Yeah. It might just be you. It might just be this class that he likes. You know, he remembers you guys from measurement 1 last year, and he says, I want to mark this stuff again for measurement 2. Just trying to... No, Wayne really loves it. Measurement 1 and measurement 2. So on slide, I always use the term solid. So when you see the first items will come in, it'll be common brickwork will be the first item that you measure. Heading, common brickwork, and then I'll start off. First item will be 110 solid walls. I know the method just says walls, but I say 110 solid walls, and then there's no disputes or not knowing what it is. When we talk about over there on the very right-hand side, closing cavities, that's when you've got a window frame or a brick wall that's usually greater than 270, a cavity wall that's greater than 270, and it's got a wide cavity, because normally our door frame or our window frame will fit in across the cavity, or there'll be a storm mold so it fits in across the cavity. If you've got a wider cavity, you have to block the end of the cavity, so the end of the wall turns around and comes in to the window frame. And I think I've got a picture on slide number 28. You can see that window frame. Normally, the window would be sitting out where that outer skin comes, the inside face of the outer skin. The window would sit there and be across the cavity. In this case, they must have a much wider cavity, and so they've had to put an extra brick in on what's called the reveal, that vertical side of the window. They've put an extra brick in there to close the cavity. It's not a common thing. It's not a common thing to see, but if you go over, I think it's a language centre, where they must have big, thick walls, you can see they've had to close in the cavities, and you'll see it over there at the language centre. I think I might have some photos of that when I'm showing you stringers and things like that. I might have accidentally picked up a cavity closer. Let's have a look when we get to that. Skins of cavity walls. There's a few things on drawings that will give you a bit of a hint. Sometimes, and you can see on this job, they've used blockwork walls and brickwork walls. So blockwork walls have usually got a single line hatch, and brickwork walls have got a double line hatch. And you can see that where it's got the comms room, you can see the outer skin there is block, and the inner skin is brick. So you've got to watch for that, but that's still a hollow wall. So you would say, if you were describing that, if you're measuring that brickwork around that comms room, you'd see 110 thick skin of hollow composite wall. And when you say the term composite, the person pricing it knows, it's not 2 skins of brickwork. It's composite, it's brickwork and something else. And I've got a few more things of that coming up. And you'll often see a really common occurrence for a composite wall is if you've got a blockwork retaining wall, filled concrete block retaining wall, then you'll have a cavity to let the seepage come down, then you might build a skin on front of that. So that's a 110 skin on hollow composite wall. In other words, it's a brick skin built on your cavity onto a retaining wall. So when you start on slide 30, when you start off with the wall section in your build, you start with the narrowest walls, 110s. You can actually get a 76 thick wall if you lay the bricks up on their edge, but that's only ever used, I've only ever seen that used for bath rising. You know, when the front of your bathtub, and there's a little wall at the front of the bathtub, that's the only place I've ever seen a 76. See you later, Jackson. Yeah. Worn you out, have we? So mostly we start off with 110 thick walls. They're the thin walls, and then we move to 230 walls, and then 350 walls. So you work your way up from the narrowest wall up. Slide 31, after you've measured the solid walls, and I always use the term solid, as I said, then you work under skins of cavity walls. Each skin's measured separately. So if you've got a cavity wall runs around the outside of a building, you'll measure it twice. Inside and outside skin, they're measured separately. Often they're different bricks, so they have to be measured separately anyway. But you describe each of them as the skin of a hollow wall. Sometimes the outer skin is face and the inner skin is common, because the inner skin might get rendered or it might get stick to brick plasterboard. But you've got to measure the two areas separately. So if you've got a cavity wall runs around the outside of a building, you'll measure it twice. Inside and outside skin, they're measured separately. Often they're different bricks, so they have to be measured separately anyway. But you describe each of them as the skin of a hollow wall. Sometimes the outer skin is face and the inner skin is common, because the inner skin might get rendered or it might get stick to brick plasterboard. But you've got to measure the two areas separately. Here we go. Here's a composite on slide 32. Here's some composite walls. We've got a core-filled block wall, and then in the bottom left-hand corner we've got 110 thick skin of composite wall, and the top right-hand picture is a 230 thick skin of hollow composite wall. So that's how you describe those in the bill. Sometimes the brick wall is built onto the face, and you've got to say that's built onto the face of an existing wall or another wall, and you'll just say built onto the face. What they do is they'll fix ties onto the face of the existing wall and build the new brick or block wall onto the face of it. You've got to mention that. Piers there's a little formula in the method for piers on slide 34, and it's a pier is less than 4 times the thickness. Usually piers are only 1 or 2 bricks. It's built onto the face. An attached pier is built onto the face of a wall. An isolated pier, if you've looked under your house, you'll see isolated piers. If you've got a Bears and Joyce house, you'll see isolated piers. They're not attached to a wall. So there's a bit more of a bill for you to scavenge descriptions out of. And I urge you to do that. In the industry, we don't sit down and write every description from scratch. In fact, we very rarely write descriptions from scratch. We usually pull another description from somewhere and ravage it, change it, edit it around. And that's why I've sprinkled through.
Okay, guys, don't fall asleep. Okay, let me explain to you a little bit here. Okay, so now we're on the first 12.1 and 12.2. So 12.1 is solid walls. When we describe or calculate solid walls, you will go from the thinnest to the thicker one, 110, 230. Remember just now I give you one example. Okay, so the one is solid walls. So after you measure solid wall, it will comes with skin of cavity walls. So this is okay. A skin of cavity walls can be a cavity brick walls or a hollow. Okay, I call it hollow. A skin of hollow walls, it can be a skin of normal hollow brick wall or a hollow composite wall. If you say a hollow walls, it means it's a hollow brick walls. Okay, so after the solid, you talk about the skin. So the skin can be the skin of a hollow brick walls or skin of hollow composite walls. So what is composite wall? It means there are 2 skin. They are still a hollow wall, but one of the skin is not brick. It usually block. Okay, so you have to describe. Anyway, the 2 skin are measured separately. This skin is measured under block work, and this skin is under brick work. Likewise, okay, if you have a solid, okay, if you have an existing hollow walls and you have a new block wall, and this block wall is not a hollow wall, okay, because this is existing, so you need to describe as new solid block wall built onto the face of existing hollow brick walls. Okay, so basically when you're measuring walls, you measure the solid wall first, and it comes by the skin of a hollow walls. Okay, so what is a pier? Okay, it's a pier got 2 types. One is attached piers and another one is isolated piers. Okay, attached piers we will measure in meter square, but isolated we will measure in meter run. Meter run means a pier is actually a columns. Okay, it's something like a column. So if sometime you must remember this is not a RC frame structure. Everything is rated is load bearing wall structure. So sometimes you need a brick columns or column brick or brick columns. in the middle of the house. So if you have a brick columns in the middle of the house, we call them a pier, and is an isolated pier. Okay. So when do we call a pier? Okay, a pier is where the length on plan is less than 4 times of its thickness. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of a pier. Okay, so just in case you want to stand the pier. Okay, let's give example for pier. So this is the brick wall. Okay, this is brick wall. This is walls. Okay, this is 110 solid wall. Okay, okay, and then you have a pier here. Here. Okay, so for example, this size is 230 and this size is 500, for example. This is a pier. Do you know why? Because the length is less than 4 times of the width. Okay, as long as the length is less than 4 times of thickness, we call them a pier. Okay, so if we got the same things, this is called an attached pier. Okay, we measure in meter square. Okay, meter square. So assume assume 3 meter high. Quantity will be equal 0.5 times 3, 1.5 meter square. Okay. Now we have another one is the same thing. Okay. This is also 230. This is 500. This is a isolated piers. Okay, isolated pier. This is in meter run. Okay, so assume 3 meter high. And okay, another one here. Okay, let me draw here. Also, I got 2. Okay. Two number. Okay. Quantity is 3 meter times 2 equals 6 meter. Okay, so this is how it works. You understand, guys? Okay, let me move on to here and I give you example of how a BOQ will look like. And this is pretty important. Okay, so usually it will come with descriptions. Common brick wall comprising of extruded or dry pressed common brick laid in stretcher bond and plain cement mortar on the ground floor. Okay, this can be 2 different kind of headings. Okay, common brick comprising extruded or dry pressed common brick laid in stretcher bond and plain cement mortar on the ground floor. This is below the ground floor, on the ground floor. Okay, so basically you actually can combine these 2 together, and this is below ground floor, this is on the ground floor. And within these descriptions, okay, and you have after the common general description, this is M measurement rule 2 and 3. Remember that I tell you what kind of brick, what kind of compositions of the mortar, and what kind of bond. Then we will go to the items. Okay, the solid brick walls and skin of hollow walls. So solid brick wall, I got solid brick wall, I got solid brick wall built onto the face of existing reinforced concrete block walls. I got 230, this is 110, 230 thick, 110 thick skin of hollow wall, skin of hollow composite walls, and we got attached piers and isolated piers. You see that? So we got walls and piers under a common headings. And this is how a BOQ works. I hope you are clear on this, okay? So this is how you measure a brick wall. And the next item, what is this? This is the same thing of this, except these descriptions and this description is the same thing, except this is below the ground floor and this is on the ground floor. Basically, you can have one common description for these two groups, okay? Of the same thing, this is different level. Below ground floor, guys, ground floor is actually first floor. In Singapore, we don't have the concept of ground floor because that's very confusing, you know. So our first floor is a ground floor. Their first floor is actually our second floor. Okay, so this below ground floor. What is below ground floor? Below ground floor mean the footing or the stump. Okay, that is the substructural works. This below ground floor. Usually it will be covered with soil. Okay, so the same thing, solid skin. Solid brick wall, skin of hollow wall. Solid brick wall, skin of hollow walls. This is on the first floor. Do you understand the way we organize the BOQ? So we go by the common general descriptions, and second it go by the levels, and third it go by the types of walls and the thickness. All right. Okay, now we have some other items. This is core fillings, openings, fireplace, chimney stack. Okay, let's a little bit more before we have a break.
The course material samples out of bills. For you, when you're doing your assignment, you can look at that. When you're reading through, I know you sit up in bed at night and read through the slides. You can say, aha, there's a beauty that I can use in my assignment. All I can do is change a little bit of the wording around. So please do that. Don't feel bad about it. I know you wouldn't feel bad about stealing my stuff anyway, but just in case someone had a pang of guilt, you don't need to have it. Slide 36.
Okay, what he just say is sometimes he give you a sample BOQ in his slides, and you can use those as a sample to vet against your BOQ for your assignment. You know, it's a kind of hint. It's a point of reference for your assignment. Okay?
Filling openings are measured separately. If you're working on an old job, restoration on an old job, you might be filling in door or window openings. They have to be measured separately because they take a lot longer to do. There's a reason why. So you measure them out separately. Same with fireplaces and chimneys. Most brickies will want the work on an hourly rate for fireplaces and chimneys anyway because they're fairly tricky to do, and so they can't be measured in the usual square metres. So we separate out openings because they're slow. Fireplaces and chimneys are even slower. Very, very slow. Projections on slide number 37 we are now. Projections are things that stay like plinths and freezers. String courses can be projecting or recessed, and corbels. And they're not things that we often come across, but I've got a few here on slide 38. Here's some projections. We've got a base plinth, is where the plinth was always at the bottom of a wall. You've got a string course. String courses don't usually stick out that far. They usually stick out only 20 mil. And you can see those. I think there's a recessed string over on the Language Centre on campus. The cornices we give in metres, and you can see they'll be purpose-made bricks, usually with curb and or splayed, and they're usually given by the number of courses high and measured in lineal metres. I don't remember measuring very many brick cornices. Measured quite a few plinths and lots of stringers. In the 80s, stringers become a bit of a hit thing with architects. You know how architects are all original thinkers, but they do the same as each other. In the 80s, there was a big fad on panels and stringers. So I measured lots of those back then. Backing to masonry is very, very rare. Usually, I've only come across it on restoration jobs where you've got some support work to hold up brickwork, and as is vaulting. If you go over to Europe, you'll see quite a bit of vaulting work, but it's been done a few hundred years ago. I don't remember measuring or working with any brick vaults. Yes, down at Bowral down at Barrel, we did a special building for retired priests, and they had some vaulting, brick vaulting in that. I think from memory that might be some of the only brick vaulting I've ever come across. So it's fairly rare. And I've got a photo of it on the next slide, I think, coming up. And then thickenings built against existing walls, often we'll call them buttresses. They're a little bit more common. Here's a bit of vaulting, and you can see those photos from Europe. When you build the vaulting, same with arches, there's this stuff called centering, which is the formwork that holds it up, but we don't call it formwork, we call it centering. When we're talking about arches and vaults, we build that on centres. Paving and steps, you say, oh, on slide 41 we are now, distance guys. So how come we've got paving? Isn't that in the paving section of the method? The brick paving that we use, that we measure under brickwork, is where we've got a mortar joint between the brick pavers. It's not laid down on hardcore with no joint. It's got a mortar joint between it. Fairly rare. Saw a fair bit of it over in New Orleans. That's the most I've ever seen in any one place. It was a little bit trendy for driveways in the late 70s, where you would put down a concrete driveway and then they'd lay brick pavers over it, but the brick pavers would be laid with a mortar joint between them, and then the mortar joint would be ironed. And that was a little bit trendy around the northern beaches in the late 70s, but I haven't seen much of that since. Brick steps, we know what they are. At the back of Nana's house, there was always often a set of brick steps, wasn't there? Used to play on when you're kids, and they've got to be measured separately as well. Flush bands, very popular with the architects in the 80s, but this place is looks like from the 30s. I think that's a pub up at might be Enfield or Belfield, and you can see it's just a panel of different colour bricks that's set in to another brick wall. And you can see there's a couple of coloured stringers as well. Very nice, isn't it? Here's a few more pictures of some panels. This one, the one on the church, there's not a flush panel, it's a recess panel. And then you can see on the fire station there, flush bands. And you go around, you'll see townhouses built in the 80s will have lots of flush bands. The other big favourite was to have a different coloured brick up to the brick sill. And then from the sill height up was a different colour. Often they used to do a darker brown brick up to the sill, and then a light brown brick above the sill. And that's called a flush band or flush panel. Like I said, that one on the church there is recessed panel. Arches, there's a few terms on slide 44, sorry, distance guys. A few terms to remember for arches. The intrados and the extrados. The intrados is the inside of the curve and the extrados is the outside of the curve. The spring line is where the arch comes from, where the vertical wall stops and it starts the curve to form the arch. So they're the terms you'll hear for arches. There's a centering for arch on slide 45. Give you a bit of an idea. Very rare to come across. Arches were all the go in the early 80s. They even used to put arches in project homes. In between the kitchen and the lounge room, they'd often build a little feature brick wall and put an archway in it. And I think people have conscientiously knocked them out of their project homes now as they've come in and remodeled their 1980s project homes. I notice a lot of the arches get done over. So that was where they were most common. They had a bit of a resurgence back then. Haven't seen arches built for a long time since that. Wall ties. You say, oh no, how are we going to measure wall ties? They're really big and scary. They're at certain centres. The method asks us just to give the area of the wall ties. The way I measure wall ties, super easy. You get to the end, you take all your all your hollow brick walls, and you add all the area of the hollow brick walls up, divide by 2, and that's the area for your wall ties. Wall ties tie the two walls together. If you put up a 110 thick wall, and I've seen this happen, an architect come to site, the brickie had built up a 110 thick wall, and he's his first lift, got to the top of the first lift. It was a preschool at 5 Dock when I first bill of quantities I ever saw. And I thought quantity surveyors were mad because I didn't understand most of it. And so job out of 5 Dock. The brickie had got up to about the first lift, and the architect came out to inspect the brickwork, and the architect said, I don't like it. They only had one skin up of the cavity wall. I don't like that, it's this and it's that. And the foreman come along, and him and the brickie had worked it out beforehand because the foreman had already rejected the wall. And so it was a bit of a PR job on the architect. And the foreman come up, and the architect said, I don't like this wall, I don't like this brick, and I don't like that brick. And the foreman said, oh yeah, I don't like it either. Put his foot up and kick the wall over. Well, because the walls are 110 wall that's 1,200 high is easy to push over. The architect thought it was the best thing he's ever seen. Someone had believed him and pushed the wall over and went away and told everyone that this builder was the best builder in the world. And it had already been worked out beforehand. But had the back skin, the other skin, been built and the wall ties tie the two walls together, there's no way that foreman would have pushed that wall over. But 110 wall won't stand up on its own. And you might hear the horror stories about walls falling over on building sites. That's if you come up with 110 wall too high, it'll blow over or fall over. But once you run those wall ties between each wall, each skin, it ties the two walls together in a lot stiffer. If you can just make out in that photo of the wall tie, it comes along, it's got a little dip down in the middle. That goes down in the cavity. So one end gets built into the outer skin, the other end gets built into the inner skin. That little dip down bit in the middle goes in the middle of the cavity with the dip down. What happens is the water comes down when we get those times when we get a couple of weeks of rain, the outside skin gets soaked. The rain comes down and it soaks the water in because bricks are porous. If you put a brick in a bucket of water, it'll soak water up. It'll come down the inside face of the outer skin. It'll hit the brick tie, the cavity tie. It might run across the cavity tie a little way, but because there's the kink down in the middle, the water will come to the middle of the kink down and drip down the cavity. The reason you've got to keep the cavities clean is because mortar droppings can fill up on top of those kinks and make a little bridge for the moisture to get across. And that's one of the worst things to do. That was what happens when then the outer skin gets wet. The moisture comes across the little bridge of mortar, the droppings that's gone across the tie, and it's straight away got a bridge to the inner skin. My job as a brickies labourer at the end of the day, we had a piece of wood with a chain tied on it, a big heavy chain, and I used to have to get up on top of the cavity and drag the chain along the cavity and knock all the droppings off the ties. Then put the hose down and wash it out. That's a super important thing to do. Slide 47, guys, there's some more descriptions for you to get in and ravage and some set out for you to have a look at and say, yeah.
Okay, guys, we almost finished this part. Okay, after this part we can have a break. Okay, let me have a quick recap for you. So remember, I just mentioned about 12 most important is 12.1 and 12.2. Okay, so 12.1 and 12.2 are walls. Okay, 12.3 is piers. These are the most important part. Then 12.4 is filling openings. This also will be measured separately, and depends on what kind of walls it will fall into the respective headings. Okay, what is filling up openings is, for example, if you have a door, okay, you have a door opening, but now you want to convert that door into a walls. Basically, in other words, you cover a wall, cover a door opening. So you will just build a wall in between the door opening. Of course, you can't just at the interface with the existing wall, you will need to hack off, remove some of the bricks in the junctions between new and existing wall to form a bond and overlap. Okay, so just imagine you have an existing door opening and now you need to fill up with the brick walls, and the junction between the existing opening and the new wall, there must be a toothing. Okay, so to bond the two together, or else there will be a crack. So 12.4 is in meter square. And you state how many numbers. For example, you got 4 openings, 4 door openings. You say, I got 4 numbers. But the quantities is in meter square. So let's say you got 1 meter by 2 meter door. So each opening is 2 meters square. You got 4 number. Your quantity is 8 meters square. And in your description, you say you got 4 number. Okay, that is for 12.4. Okay, 12.5, very straightforward. You have the fireplace or the chimney stack. In Singapore, I can tell you we never see fireplace and chimney stack. This is in number, very straightforward. You count how many numbers and you describe all the dimensions. Okay, 12.6 are projections. Okay, this is projections. Cornices, string cores, plinth. Okay, so you got plinth, freezers, string cores, cobbles, whatever. Okay, so anyway, all these projections are measured in meter run. Okay, so depends on where they run. Usually they run along the ceiling, they run along the walls. So just measure the length and they describe the dimensions. Okay, stating the thickness and the heights or numbers of courses. Okay, so for example, 1, 2, 3, 4 courses. So these cornices have 4 courses. So state it out, the size, the courses. Okay, 12.7, 8, and 9. Okay, 7 is backing to masonry or similar work. Is very rare items. Vaulting and thickening build again existing wall. Is usually measured as a composite walls. Okay, vaulting is this one. Okay, also very seldom used. Is in meter square. Paving. Okay, paving and step. I think paving is quite commonly seen even in Singapore. Remember, this paving have a mortar joints. It's not the paving with only the sand joints. Okay, so this paving is meter square, and the steps, treads, and risers is in meter run. Okay, flush band, all these are decorative flush. Okay, panels is in meter square, but flush band, okay, panels is in meter square. Though this flush band is in meter run. So remember, guys, how do you measure masonry? Always think of it in a very how to say, overall view is you always measure the majority first. So the majority are the walls. Okay, so after all the walls, you have the decorations, the accessory, like the flash band, the cornices, the string cores, capping. So all these accessory will be measured additionally in meter run. And of course, you need to minus away their quantities in the main brick walls. All right. Arches is also accessory in number. Fireplace in number. Okay, wall ties. Okay, this item definitely you will see in your assignment. Okay, so wall ties are usually for cavity walls. Because you have measured the 2 skins separately, so you take all the skin of hollow walls, you add together and divide by 2. Because you have the average areas of the cavity walls. Okay, so that's the wall ties. We don't measure in numbers, but we measure in the areas. Okay, so this is the sample of the BOQ. So remember, we have common brick just now, common brick and fixed brick, common brick work and fixed brick work to measure separately. Okay, so remember we have gone through the BOQ, that is for common brick, and now for fixed brick. It's applicable the same thing, but it's under different categories. So for fixed brick, you got external fixed brick work and internal fixed brick work. You have the common descriptions, the ties of brick, the mortar joints, the bond, remember, M3, M4, and we have the thickness, the solid, and the skin of hollow wall. This is the way we applicable for all sort of BOQ item for masonry. Okay, so in external face brick, internal face brick. Okay, so after these are all the walls, we are done. We measure all the accessories. Okay, so the first accessory we measure is cutting and chasing. If you have a cutting to make a some sort of sloping walls or slanted wall, centimeter run accessory. You see, you got a seals. You got whatever is it, face brick. So step soldier face brick seals, step soldier face brick over opening, DPC and flashings. Remember we talked about this. Okay, so you got flashings here, you got head flashings, you got seal flashings, you got cavity flashing. Remember, head flashing is above the windows, seal flashings is below the windows, and cavity flashings is above the slab. Okay, next to the slab. And we have wall ties. Guys, these few items are actually the few items that you have to do for your assignment 3. So when you have the assignment 3 BOQ, you can come back to this BQ. Okay, this BQ is a very good example. So you can come back to this BOQ in these lecture notes to compare, to see whether you need to change or you need to amend anything, you know, in either in their descriptions or in their organizations. Okay, you got wall ties. Okay, form cavities in hollow brick walls. Remember we add together and divide by 2. And okay, steel lintel is not measured in this trade, so we put a note. You know what is the difference between notes and others? Notes is there's no costing, okay? It's just a note. But other than note, this should have a costing. Item also must have a costing, okay? Vertical joints in 110 thick brickwork shall included okay, controlling joints in meter run. This is for expansion joint. You know, sometimes the brick will move and it will create crack. So how many meter they must leave a gap, and then they will fill it with sealant, silicone sealant. So in case the brick expand, it will not crush and crack. Okay, so you got reinforcement. You need reinforcement for brick. Okay, cleaning down. If you have fair face or you got face brick, you need cleaning, because face or fair face brick or face brick is you need to make it look nice. Okay, to expose a brick, there will not be any plaster, so you must do cleaning down. Alright, so these are few items you need to calculate. So guys, there's a line here. After this line, there's a B block work. This BOQ part is a very, very interesting, a very good reference for your assignment 3. Alright. Later we will do some practice with qubit to enter the BOQ.
Yeah, I reckon I can make it. If you can make it look like that, you'll be well on your way to keeping your HD. A bit more for you there. Slide 48. You can see then at the bottom of slide 48, I've put a horizontal line. That means I'm going to start block work next. I didn't. So slide 49, there's a range of other items to be included, and they're called sundries. So to get the area of the brick and block is pretty easy. The sundries are the things that take a little bit more time. And as I've said before, there's a point there, you put a noid in Built Off Global, you put a noid, and that leaves a blank line without a build reference, and then you start the block work up after that. Surprise, surprise, but on slide 50, block work trade includes the concrete filling and the reinforcing bar in the block work. A lot of people think that should go in Rio concrete, but it actually goes in block work, so be super careful about that. If I've been pretty tricky, if there's any block work on the job, I would have been tricky in your assignment and stuck that in. So just watch out for that. If I've asked you to measure any block work, just look out for that one. Because you don't expect to find Rio and concrete in brickwork and blockwork in the masonry trade. There's a blockwork section for you on slide 51. Give you a bit of an idea and give you some, it's like going to the wreckers, isn't it? And getting bits out of it. That's what you do. Cleaning, there's a nice item. So, to get into Qubit, I suggest you have a look at my little U-Butte video. But you start a new job on slide 54. We are now distance guys and Singapore crew. Start a new job, and it's a new job. You can see up there it'll say project. Does it say project up there? New project as well? No. On the later versions of Global, it's got up there beside the new job button, it's got a new project button. And a project is a group of jobs. So you might have, for instance, in a project, you might have a school, and it might have 3 classroom blocks. And you might call each classroom block a job, but they go into one project, or a hospital or something like that. So just look out you don't click new project. So you click new job, and that will open up the new job screen, and you give it a name. And then you can go in and you can see all those boxes in the background. You can put all the details in. I don't usually bother very, very much with all of those. You just put in your job name and off you go. The job will appear on the jobs list once you've set it up. You can open it 2 ways. You can double click on it, which is what I tend to always do for some reason, or up on the top menu bar there's an open button. You can click on that, but I tend to just double click for some reason. But either one will get you into the job. So you can double click, highlight the job on a job manager, double click, and that'll open the job for you. You've got a blank job. The pane I always start with is this one on the left hand side. I can't remember what they call that, but that's the one where I start, and I always like to build a job up by putting in my shopping list, my build descriptions. So I'll go firstly when I've started my new job and I've opened the job, I'll go to that left hand side pane and start to enter the trades I want to enter into it. Now I urge you to have a look at the video, because there's the way you indent items in that left hand pane determines whether they're headings or trades or just bill items. It's not like the good old days of Offsider where we put a heading, we put a head or a head 1 or a head 2 into the unit column. The way you indent in there determines whether it's a trade or a heading within a trade, or an item under a heading or a subheading. So just watch out for that and have a look at that video I've made, because it'll help you with that a lot. And then the way I like to start off.
Okay, guys. I think it's a little bit slow, but that's okay. I hope that you have a very good understand of the ASMM6, how do you use it. But of course, you will need some practice. Okay, so after this break, we will have a little bit of practice with Qubit. Okay. So why don't we have a break until 4:30? Okay. Do you have any questions for me for assignment 2? Anyone have any questions for me? Yeah. What do you want to ask? Okay, later we will play with the Qubit. Okay, solid, hollow, and composite. Okay, this is a solid walls. See, okay, this is a solid walls. Okay, for in the BOQ, you will go in BOQ first. we will go by common brickwork. Another heading is facing brick, external facing, internal facing. So assume that these are all common brickwork. Okay. So Edgar, this is solid. You see that? This wall is solid. Okay, 2 hedge is brick, okay? This is 1 hedge, is a block work. So this wall is single alone. It doesn't have another layers. So it's not a hollow wall. So it's a solid wall. Okay, so this wall we will measure as a solid wall. Just state the thickness. Maybe 110 thick solid walls. Okay, you see this wall here? This wall here? This wall is, it looks like a solid wall, yes, but because it have another skin. So this is a skin of hollow walls. Okay, so you will measure this as, for example here, this part is 110 thick solid wall. This part is 110 thick skin of hollow walls. Okay, sorry, I think you cannot see clearly. Where is that? Hollow wall skin. Here you are. Okay. I couldn't see very clearly. Okay. So this part here is the skin of hollow walls. Okay, now look at here. This is a block wall and this is a brick wall. So this is actually a hollow wall, but it's not a brick hollow wall. It's a composite wall. Composite hollow wall means it's a hollow wall that made from 2 skin of different types. Another example of a composite wall is this one. Okay, this is a brick. This is a block. So this is a skin of composite wall. Okay, if this is brick, this is brick, this is a skin of hollow wall. Now you understand now? Edgar? Solid is standing alone, okay? Hollow means there are 2 skins. Hollow means both are brick of 2 skin. Composite means 1 brick and 1 is something else. Anyway, if it's hollow, either it's composite hollow or brick hollow, you need to measure separately 2 different skin, the two skins. The block, what's BWR? Brickwork, brick. Or BWR, or BWR is a block work. It's a block work. Block wall with reinforcement. Yeah. This is a block wall with reinforcement. This one. Actually, I'm not sure whether is it internal or external here. Yeah. Let me see whether, are we gonna measure block wall? Let me see the, this is a block work. See block work? For example, you see how they measure block work. Concrete block walls in the following: core fillings, 200 thick block work, retaining wall below ground floor, external colored block wall to ground floor, internal block wall to ground floor, internal block wall to ground floor. Yeah, I think the block wall can be internal or external, depends on where is the location of the drawings or the items. For this example, I really don't know whether they are external or internal, because it's just very, how to say, there's no indications it's whether it's internal or external. Okay, yeah. So you have to see the plan. If it's facing outside, it's facing to the external air. Okay, actually outside the house, that is external. It's facing inside, it's the internal block work. And of course, 2 of them have to do separately as well. Yes, this one is block work. Yes, this one is block work. Single hatch is block work, and double hatch is brickwork. External or internal, we don't know. Can be both external or internal, depends on the locations. Like for example, this part here is internal already, and this part here is external. You see? Yeah. So external or internal, it depends on whether they are facing outside or facing inside. Can be internal or external, correct? Yeah. So remember, single hatch is block work and double hatch is brickwork. And they are measured separately. Two different sections. Brick is one section, block is one section. Yes, you can say it's always the same. 50 is a cavity. Is a cavity thickness. It's usually 50. Yeah. Unless specially described, but you can say that this is 50. We all understand that it's 50. Is a cavity thickness is 50. Okay. Any more questions, guys? Any more questions? Okay, we have a little bit more break, okay? Yeah. Hello. Yes, hello guys. Welcome back. Okay. So after this, we will have a qubit. Okay, starting a masonry trade in qubit. Okay, so let's.
Hi everyone. I just wanted to show you how to make a start with your qubit and the masonry. There are all sorts of things into this in group. Here we go. What's called a use. This riff, the specification. Masonry. Then what's using next is allow for samples. Oh, now what we can do with these is we come into this column with the 3 dots, and we can say that's a note.
Okay, why don't we do a practice with qubit? Okay, let me give you an example of how do you do the qubit. You know, do you want an example of how to measure brick walls, or example of how to play with qubit? Actually, the next part we talk about qubit. Actually, qubit very easy. Let me see whether you can have this. We can do something. Just whether you can copy some this part into qubit. Okay, you want to try some qubit things? You can try on your own. Okay, can you open qubit first? Let me open my qubit as well. Okay, and why don't we open qubit and then we types in this trait. Type in a masonry trait. Okay, we type in this trait here, which is this part here. So basically, we will types in BQ1 here. Okay, but we don't do all. Okay, we will do a few of these. Okay, for masonry, BQ1 here. Okay, here, and then we will go to BQ2, for example. Common brickwork. Okay, and we will shortcut a bit. Yeah. Or we can follow travel examples here.
The next thing we want to notch of hollow walls, and we're going to measure the area of that one. And we say, well, we're going to have those same items. Control, and we're going to measure the area of that one. And we say, well, we're going to have those same items. Control, and click on each one, and Control C.
Okay. Let me see. Let's see what he's trying to do here. I'll save time. Okay, this is.
I want that as a heading. Yeah, so they're a good looking build. So let's go into view, generate me not a too bad looking build. Oh, there we go. So you can see we've got masonry.
Okay, I'm not sure whether you can see this. You have refer to this, allow for sample, allow for test. Okay, then we have below ground level, ground floor, you know, first floor. So we can really try create one build of this, like what Trevor did. But now I need to, how do I zoom in this? Okay. Okay, so let's try. Okay, let's try. Can you open qubit? So we will type in preambles. We will type in these preambles and return common brickwork. These preambles, common brickworks. Okay, maybe you type in some of this as well. Okay, we don't want to do so complicated. We just want to do what he's do here. Okay, generally refer to. Okay, common brickwork here. I know you are little bit confused of what to do. Okay, basically I want you to come out with a BOQ and type this inside the preamble, inside the qubit. Okay, so why don't we just type this one? Okay, here you type this inside your qubit. Okay, so let's have qubit. Okay, so you try to type in BQ1, but we exclude item G. Okay, just refer to slide 26. Okay, so now we do a hands-on practice. Actually, you can do it at home lah, huh? I think next week we can do together. I think now we got not much time. Let me run through. Some bill items in the client letters. Okay, for assignment 3, huh, the BOQ haven't been uploaded. The client letters is only mentions. I think the client letters only mentions of what kind of trade you want to measure only. Are you talking about these letters? Are you talking about these letters? Oh, let me see, okay. Following items and provide the usual professional bills. These items I need checks or change are below. Please note I am considering more alternative to the extension on the drawing in some of the items. External face brickwork, internet. Okay, brick sales, racking, cutting, roofing. Oh, okay, now I know what you mean. Okay. Yes, you're right. Chen-Ling, you're right. Okay. I thought that the BOQ will be given. I thought the BOQ would be given by travel, because you know why? A few years ago, or I think it was last year, even last year, the actually BOQ was given by travel. So what you do, you just have to retype inside qubit. But now, he make it a bit more tricky. So he didn't give you a BOQ. He asked you to create their own BOQ. Yes, so basically these are some of the measurement items. Okay, and you need to produce a BOQ in qubit. And the BOQ that you produce in qubit will look something like this. It will look something like this. Like this. Okay? Masonry, generally, of course this part, item G, right, you don't have also can. So these few item, this few BOQ, I can say, okay, slide 26, slide 26, slide 35, and further on. This few BOQ pages is extremely important for your assignment, because this is where you can make reference, or you can copy, but you don't copy wholesale. Okay, you need to think whether is it relevant. You can refer to how they describe, and then you can apply to your qubit BOQ. You understand what I mean? Yeah, so the client letters is the BOQ items, but that is not how you describe your BOQ items. Your BOQ must be more professionally described. So what you can do is you can refer to something like this. All right? Yeah. Are you clear, Chen Ling? The client letter is an item that you need to do measurement, but you need to convert that into a real BOQ with the headings, subheadings, proper descriptions, so on and so forth. Yes, we have to. Correct. That's later on we have to do all this. You're right. Yeah. Next week we will have one practice for this. We will insert the drawings and we will do some sample of calculations for that. Okay. But now I want you to try how do you do the BOQ on Qubit. Okay. You can try based on travel example here. I want to make it a bit faster.
We're having a bit of a session. Anyway, started up the job and we've got is in green and double click, or I can click on this open button up the top. I like it.
Okay, so when you open the okay, this video is in Blackboard. You can always follow to learn how to do an indent to create the BOQ. Okay, next week we will do one example for that. So first of all, when you open Qubit, you just press new job. Okay, then you will see new jobs, but you just select any projects from here. Then you press new jobs and you create a job name, then you double click, it will go inside.
Double click.
Yeah.
I didn't click the blank job for me now. Okay. Because I've just picked what's called a blank template. Takes a little bit of time, doesn't it? My whole steam powered computer. Oh, gee, we're having a bit of a session here. Something's still happening.
Okay. So this is when you open Qubit.
Anyway, started up the job and we've got this. Sorry for that little technological hitch there. And we've got our job, and you can see over on the left-hand side we've got a pane here that we use. Now what I'll do is I'll start a trade called masonry. So I'll click on there and I'll say MAN. Now that's given me a trade.
Okay, you can follow the instructions in this video. It's very, very easy and very, very clear. Basically, he just created a few items of the BOQ to teach you how to do indent and outdent and see whether how do you have the headings, properly.
I can hit return and it'll give me a line below that. That's now a masonry trade. To put anything in that trade, I have to indent it. So I go up to this indent button and I click on that and you'll see it'll bring it in.
Okay, do you have the Qubit with you? Maybe you can follow these instructions and you can try to create a very, very tiny BOQ based on this. Okay, so he will start with masonry. A second item will be a preambles.
In that indent. So now I've started a heading within a trade. The first thing I want to do in the trade is the preamble, so I'll type in that heading generally. That's now a heading, and I'll hit the return button. It'll give me a line underneath it. Now I want to put items under my heading, so I have to indent them again. So I'll indent those. And what's our first item in preambles is refer to the introduction, isn't it? And general, what is it? And general rules, yeah. Gee, I've almost got it memorised. General rules and recommendations. Oops. Hit return. Have I spelled all that right? I don't think I have. I can look up there if I've got that spelled wrong. I can go up here and I can edit that. General rules and that's wrong, isn't it? So, and then the next item in my preambles is refer to the specification. relevant sections of the specification. What's that say? Sections. Mostly. Samples on, so that's a note. That column with the 3 dots, we pick what we're actually measuring. So then we can say allow for samples. Allow for, and they're going to be items, so we'll stick those.
Okay, so first you can create this masonry is a trade, so it's the first level. Okay, so 1.1 is a preamble, so they get 3 items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. Allow for sample panels and testing. Okay, so you just type inside your qubit.
F4, we'll copy that down. And we come back to our line at the bottom and say, right, we're finished with that. The next thing we want to measure in, and we'll unindent that because we want to come back to a heading. So we go to the unindent button, unindent, and we'll go common. Now, I'm not sure if we've got any common brickwork to get that right. Now, because this is going to be the next thing we want to do is a heading, we want to do below ground floor, common brickwork below ground floor. I'm not sure if we've got any, but we'll just put it in just to show you how to do it. I'll indent this line. So heading below ground floor level. It's a heading, another line, and because that's a heading, we want to indent, and we can say 110 solid walls, 110 thick hollow walls. Okay, righto, that's going to be all of our items below ground floor, and I'm not sure on our project whether we do. You'll have to check that in your shopping list. Let's unindent this one. Oops, too far after it. And then we want to go our ground floor, and we're going to say, oh, wait a minute, we've got now. Oh, sorry, we'll go back into these items. We're going to say we're going to measure the area of that one, and we're going to measure the area of that one. And we say, well, we're going to have those same items, and click on each one, and Control C, move it down to where we want it, Control V, and it puts them in there for us. We want to indent them, and so there we are. Now we might have another one which will indent, and we could say insert an item in there. Now that was insert an item was the solid walls before the hollow walls. Hollow walls are walls with cavities. And then we might want to say first floor. Want that as a heading. So let's indent that little beastie. That's a heading. And then we can say, oh, we want these same walls. Oops. Oh, move that around. Shift, click, Control C, put it where we want, Control V. Oh, I should indent those. I must have something a bit wrong, but there they go. So they're the start of our brickwork trade. Now, if we want to see what our bill looks like at this point, we should have a good looking bill.
Okay, so basically he did very simple. He just add in generally, refer to introductions and all this. First, common brickwork, and then he set the he set the unit for them of this ground floor, first floor, solid walls, skin of hollow walls. Very, very simple. So after that, he press data. He go to generate a BOQ report.
They're the start of have a good looking. Where's it gone?
Data.
Data.
Yeah.
So go to data, generate.
Go to the data. Yeah.
Billet quantities. and it should generate me not a too bad looking bill. Oh, there we go. So you can see we've got masonry as a heading.
So you can practice this at home. See whether you can get the same bills format as what he has here. Okay, it's very, very easy. So this is what you have to do for your assignment 3. And not just for masonry, you also have roofing and finishes. And finishes have many trades. You know, you got floor, you know, you got the in situ finishes, you know, you got a different kind. Okay, so you must create a few trades in the bills for your assignment 3 using Qubit. Basically, the formatting will be done for you by the software. All you have to do is to do the correct indent to show the correct levels of the headings. Okay, you have to if you have any problems, you want to share your screen with me? Share your screen with me. I will tell you what's wrong. Okay. You indent. You know, you select that to indent in. So you has January is 1.1. Okay. Qi Yang, correct. Qi Yang, refer to something actually is 1.1.1. Yeah, you pull the column a bit bigger, then you can see, you know, it's not 1.1 1.1 all the way, you know. January is 1.1, then after that to be 1.1.1 1.1.2. Yeah, Rong Yun is say correctly. Okay, you try. Very simple, guy. Only 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. A few items. You try it and you share with me your screen if you have any problems. Okay, so today is our deliverable. Okay, so we learn a little bit on Qubit. We assign the unit, and also we do learn how to do indent and outdent. Yes, it's very, very much like MS projects. Yeah, so most important is you must know which one is a grandfather, which one is a father, and which one is a children. Then you can indent them into the correct headings. You know, for example, if you forget to indent generally, right, then generally become a friend of masonry, then become another trade. So you got a very haywire BOQ. Yeah, very, very similar to Microsoft projects. It's actually quite very simple. Yeah, for students is peanuts. This kind of technical things. The main things are the most challenging for you guys are how do you do the descriptions and how many headings, what's the headings names. And the good thing is you have the BOQ in the lecture notes of today's lessons. Today's lesson is very important for masonry, you know, so you can refer to that, you know, make a reference, just change the description to your own, to your projects. Yeah, use a sample, change a little bit, become your projects. Any more questions? Anybody have difficulties with achieving this result that need me to help with your Qubit? Yeah, I don't want to show my Qubit because it will be waste of too much time, because Trevor have done a very good job here, and it's good that he have captured the video, so you can always refer back. Guys, next week I want you to have Qubit. Okay, today I know you have Qubit, so I want you to type this BOQ, a very short one-page BOQ to try out this. Okay, next week I want you to have the Qubit, and I will give you a sample drawings, and all of us will do the taking off to compare whether we have the same quantities. Okay, we will do the on-screen takeoff on our own Qubit, and we will share the result with each others. Okay. Do you have any more questions for me?
Yes, please. Yes.
I mean, naughty.
What?
Shh,
Yay.
don't take mommy phone. No. Go.
Why?
Mommy working. Go. Yeah, my daughter is disturbing me. Go. Okay. Do you have any questions? Anybody have problem with achieving this? So you just do the correct indent and outdent, you know. So basically under masonry, you have generally the first headings. Second heading will be common brickwork. The third heading will be external face brick, then internal face brick, and after that you have block work. Yeah. Okay. Since you don't have much questions about this, I think you have no problem. How do we include the items in the leg? Okay. Chen Ling, you're asking the very important questions. Okay, so basically in the client letter is this. This is for, so you have external face brickwork, internal common brickwork, at lower ground floor levels. So you know that they want to have face brick, okay, external face brick. So this is will be the main headings. Okay, this is another heading, ground floor levels. And you have to look into your drawings to see at the ground floor levels what are the external face brickwork that you have. What kind? Is that a solid wall? Is that a skin of hollow walls? Remember? So remember, this is not the items, okay? These are the works that they want to measure. So for example, areas of internal common brickwork at lower ground floor level. This is not one item. So you don't just copy this and do your BOQ. That is disaster, okay? This is the work they want to calculate. So you must put internal common brickwork. Okay, so these are headings. And then lower ground floor level is another headings. Then how about the description? Standard metric common brick, laid in stretcher bond, cement mortar, blah blah blah. You must include as well. Then after that will be the thickness of the walls. So basically you can follow, you can adapt by whatever here. Follow these few is BOQ. You see, they follow common brick, big headings, and they got these descriptions in the ground floor, and come with the types of solid brick, thickness, skin of hollow wall thickness. So you have to see the drawing to take it off, to see that, oh, is there any solid brick wall at that locations? Is there any skin of hollow walls at that locations? You understand what I mean? Yeah. Unfortunately, today we don't have enough time, okay? But I promise next week I will give you a sample. I give you the drawings of last year assignment, and I will tell you how do you do a BOQ for that drawings. Alright? Yeah? So basically you follow this style, okay? But it's applicable. But this style is travel sample, so you cannot wholesale. You have to see the drawings. Remember, the BOQ is the description of works inside your drawing. So you have to see the drawings. If you have skin, then you have to describe as a skin. If you have solid wall, then you must have solid wall. If your solid wall got two types, thin and thick, then you got two types also. You understand? So you have to tie back with the drawings as well. But I will give you a sample next week. Because now I think we don't have enough time. Masonry is a very important trade, because they are using mainly a load-bearing wall. So masonry is a very important costing for the buildings. See, another example, you see, they say brick seals. So you can't say brick seals, you know. If you just put brick seal, you have big problems. So you have to go and see the BOQ. You see, where is the brick seal? Where is the sample of the brick seal? So you go to the BOQ, you say, oh, here's a brick seal. So you so-called can copy, but I don't want to use the word copy. Copy means mindlessly copy, okay? I want to use the word reference. We are very clever in making reference. For example, here you see brick seals. Seal and feature causes, you see that? So even about brick seal, you must have a headings, a description. What kind of brick seals? And in your brick seal, you must say, is it snap soldier? Is it a brick on edge? Or is it what kind of brick seals? You know, so you have to describe it. Do a professional. This is where you are different. I can tell you assignment 3, the quantities is very easy to calculate because you have a software. But the descriptions and the understanding of how to create a BOQ is where you are different from your friends. Alright? But good news, you have a sample to follow. Just now he already give you a tip to say, oh, you can always follow this. Yeah, this is, but you don't wholesale, you see, you only pick whatever is relevant to the BOQ. Huh? Yes, you can assume. You can assume. You have to read somewhere, then you can assume. Yeah, if you don't have, you just have to assume something. You can just follow his examples. But just to ensure that there's nowhere mentioned, okay? Yeah, you should see the detail sections whether they have mentioned what kind of brick. Yeah, but usually there's two types, face brick and common brick. That's all. Yeah. So you have to find out whether it's face brick or common brick. You can't assume face brick or common brick. You have to find out because there will be a legend somewhere. You know, the legend will say that this is face brick, this is common brick. So find out. But the types of brick, the brand name, maybe you can make it up lah, to make it look interesting. Any more questions? Okay, how about assignment 2? Do you have any question for me for assignment 2 before we off? And in the meantime, I'm gonna call attendance. Any question for assignment 2? Okay, just to recap on assignment 2 a little bit, just to be fair with you guys. Okay. Okay, for assignment 2, I know that there's a walls here. Okay, this is a retaining walls, and this is a retaining walls. On the other side, there will be a brick walls. Okay, if it's not a retaining walls, it will be just a brick walls. How do I show it to you? Like this kind of brick walls. Remember, in Australia, they're using load-bearing wall, so the brick wall is sitting on the footings. There's a. Here you are. See, and you see this time? This one. See that? This is a footing, and this is the walls. Okay, so this. They always the footing, the wall that's sitting on the footing, and inside will be the slab. Yeah, can you can go first, guys. The class is actually ended. Okay. Okay, I mark your attendance, Rong Yun, right? Sorry, guys, I was a bit. Okay. Ong Boshe also here. Sorry, guys, to attendance, let you go. Some of you may need to go. Daniel also here. Let me see. Daniel is here. Chandra is here. Jia Ming is here. Che Jing is here. Okay. Edgar is here. 18 Zako is here. Dongcheng. Guo Dongcheng is here. Okay. Mingjie. Guo Mingjie is here. Su Chen Mei Su. Su Chen Mei Su is here. Tin Lin is here. Gong Zhou Ted here. Karu. I got attendance, you can go lah, huh? Is Karu here? Anybody see Karu? Karu. Ying Jian is here. Wei Xin is here. Wei Chen is here. Wei Chen is here. Xiao Han is here. Qu Yang is here. Africa is here. Africa is here. Zhonghe. Qin Zhonghe is here. Xiao Yi is here. Wow, the class is very crowded. Teng Teng. Is Teng Teng here? Teng Teng here. Yes. Wang Hao is also here. Roshi. Yes. Wei Dong is here. Okay. Chen Hong, I think also here. Do I see Chen Hong? Yes. Okay, Rong Yun is here. She just left. Chen Lin is here. Zhang Chi is here. Zhang Meitu. Yeah, here. Zhang Meitu is here. This is 14. Wang Kun, okay, here, finished. Okay. Karu, everybody is here, guys. Thanks for attending. If you have any question, you can stay back to ask me. Do you know Karu, whether he's here? Or because I didn't see him now. Or did he just drop it out? Karu, you think Karu here today? Anybody know whether Karu here today? Okay. Okay, guys. Okay, let me explain again a bit, okay? Remember, the slab is inside. Outside is the walls, okay? This is either a brick walls that's sitting on the footings, or is it a retaining walls? So basically, this is the wall and this is the wall. Only the retaining wall part, you need a working space. A brick wall part, you don't need a working space. Okay, but by the way, you are telling the software to create this bench. Okay, to create these excavations. That's why you inserting the slab here. Some of you may combine the slab and the wall together, so you insert a bigger slab than usual, than the actual one. Okay, you forget about the wall. You can insert a bigger slab to cover both slab and the wall for both sides here. But if let's say you you want to separate between the slab and the wall, then you have to insert slab and wall separately. Okay, the wall will be around the slab and the slab will be in the middle of the walls. And the side where the slab is below the ground, then that side you do a little bit more for the working space. And just to ensure that in between the slab, there must be a retaining walls and there must be a working space at the drops between the two slabs. Okay? Are you guys clear? Okay. You talk about that, you talk about that flashings. Okay, let me show you the flashings. How come it look like this color? Oh dear, why is this color? This flashings, let me open a bit for you. Basically, when the wall is brick by something, either the slab, then you need to have a flashing. So there are got a few kind of flashing here. First is the first kind of flashings is this is the head flashings for the windows, head flashing for the window and door, seal flashings for the windows, And this is the cavity flashing for the slab. Okay, so cavity flashing. This part is a door. The door, of course, there got no flashing because there's nothing here. There's no walls. So there must be a wall before you talk about flashings. Yes, entire length of the wall that is next to the slab will have flashing. Because the slab, yes, it goes around the entire perimeter. You are right. Yeah, unless there's a door cut through lah, so you cannot cut through the door lah. You know, yeah. So cavity flashing is actually same as a perimeter of the slab. The slab perimeter. Yeah. Because this is where you scared the water will go in ma, so you need the flashings to let the water go out. To you know. Anytime it's a window, correct? As long as the windows. Yeah, you need to have a top and a bottom of the window flashings. You're right. So how do you get this flashing? You have to see the plan of the buildings, and you draw a line, a perimeter line along the external walls of the buildings. Yes, this is a flashing. Full length windows. If it's go all the way down, touching the slab, then you don't need a flashing there. You only need the top part. Yeah. If it's a full length windows, it look like a door. Then you only need the head. The head flashing. You don't need the seal flashing because there's no seal. So basically, the flashing is something like a skirting, yeah. You go all around the perimeter except there's an opening, either because of the windows or because of the doors. The opening is touching the ground, touching the floor, yeah. Okay. Any more problems with your assignment? Qi Yang, are you still there? Qi Yang? Okay. I just want to emphasize here a little bit. Okay. I know that some of you, I'm not sure whether I can open my mud shark. Okay, if you decide to insert only the slab and the wall combined, so you only got the slab and the working space, but you decided to insert the slab and the retaining wall at a two structure to make it look very clear, then your wall must be all around, because if let's say this side you don't have the wall, right, then it means you are missing out the excavation at this side. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you got the slab, if you got the wall, you must have both side walls. And then you need to differentiate which side is the brick wall and which side is a retaining wall. And the retaining wall, you have a working space. Like previously, how I illustrated under my mud shark. Yeah, I don't know how they can open my mud shark here. Or else, you can just ignore the retaining wall and brick wall, but you make a very big slab to represent both of them. Remember, because our whole point is we need to excavate a space to fit in both the brick wall, the retaining wall, and also the slab. So you shouldn't have just one side of the retaining walls. If you got wall, you must have both sides are walls. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Photo and the house. Scaffolding you will count from the ground floor. It counted from the nearest. I think counted from the ground floor. Just now the photo of the thing, right? Yeah, counted from the ground floor because you have to erect the scaffolding up, and it had to stand. The scaffolding cannot stand unless there's a balcony. Okay, then you can stand a balcony. If not, you have to stand all the way down from the ground floor. Erect how many story height of scaffolding to build a brick facade. Edgar. Do you guys have any more questions for me? Okay. I think you have no more questions. Yeah. If you have no more questions, you can go. I think our class end at 5, isn't it? Or 6? 5, right? Yeah. I just showed you last week, very late last week, I did an example of how do you build a brick walls and a retaining wall together. Let me see, where is this? Viewport here. Here, okay. So I use a tool called offset. So I do a drawing tool. Okay, I draw a length, okay, so I can demarcate about the wall and the slab and also the working space. And I use the offset functions, so I can have a very neat line that is exactly 600 mm width. Okay, so I don't have to agar, I can have a very accurate length, accurate width. So I draw a length, I draw areas, I use offset here. Okay, then this let me see, okay. Okay, for example, I'm gonna recalculate this one. Untick open graph field. Yeah, so you can always use the offset tools to draw a very clean and neat boundary lines. Because of thickness you can set. If you do AutoCAD, so basically this is where I created. I want to show that there's a wall and there's a slab all separately. So you can see the cross sections here. So this is the wall. This is my wall and this is my slab. Okay, I created it separately. And this is my wall and this is my slab. And also this is my working space. So I created both sides. Okay, so this part is a brick wall and this is the RC wall. Actually, this is stronger than this. Surrounding must have wall because the wall is a load bearing wall. They got no columns. They're using wall as the columns. Okay. Yeah, so most important is you have to determine this line, cut and fill line, because this is where your working space and where your cut and fill will be interface. Okay. Okay, thanks guys. So that's all. Yeah. So I will say goodbye to you and let you go, okay? Yeah. Okay. Bye bye guys. See you, all the best. Okay? Yeah. All the best. See you guys next week. Do install Qubit, okay? So we can have some practice next week. Yeah. By now we should forget about assignment. So bye.